Dear friends, today's topic for discussion is Accounting Standard 28 Impairment of Assets. So, Accounting Standard 28 comes under the course Specialized Accounting, which is part of the M.Com curriculum of the Mahatma Gandhi University. So, dear friends, in every accounting standard, all accounting standards deal with the recognition, measurement, presentation, and disclosure of different accounting transactions in the financial statements of business enterprises. If we take the case of accounting standard 2, that specifically deals with the valuation of inventory. So likewise, accounting standard 28 deals with the accounting treatment of impairment of assets. So before coming to the accounting treatment of impairment of assets, we need to understand the meaning of impairment in a more precise and clear manner. So for that purpose, you consider this balance sheet. On the liability side of the balance sheet, the usual items are there. Shareholders fund consisting of share capital and reserves and surplus. External liabilities, the long-term liability, the debentures are there. The trade payable, outstanding expenses, so the usual items are there. So now I would like to bring your attention to the asset side of the balance sheet. On the asset side of the balance sheet, we have the non-current assets and current assets. So dear friends, kindly note that Accounting Standard 28 specifically deals with fixed assets. It considers only fixed assets. That means the impairment of inventory is not considered in Accounting Standard 28. If a particular part of the stock is obsolete or not moving, we can say it is impairment of inventory, but that does not come under the purview of the Accounting Standard 28. And if the value of receivables comes down without any collection from debtors, it is impairment of receivables. You know the reason. The reason is bad debt, but it cannot be it does not come under Accounting Standard 28. So dear friends, Accounting Standard 28 deals with those assets which come under Accounting Standard 10. You know what is Accounting Standard 10? Accounting Standard 10 is property, plant and equipment. Those assets which come under Accounting Standard 10 will come under Accounting Standard 28 also, impairment of assets. So now I know that you got some idea about the term impairment. Now we come to the accounting meaning of impairment. You can see on the asset side of the balance sheet there, the carried amount of the equipment is rupees 10 lakh. Okay, so what do you mean by this carrying amount? Carrying amount means net to book value. What is net to book value? The cost of the fixed asset minus accumulated depreciation so far, and it is 10 lakh. Okay, it is the carried amount. Cost of the asset minus total depreciation so far. It is the net to book value and it is carried on the balance sheet. Okay, it is 10 lakh. And suppose that the recoverable value of this equipment is rupees 12 lakh. Recoverable value is 12 lakh. So do you find any problem? The recoverable value is 12 lakh. We carry the asset at rupees 10 lakh. No issue. Because we carry the asset only at rupees 10 lakh. The recoverable value is 12 lakh. So there is no issue. There is no issue of impairment. Suppose that the recoverable value is rupees 7 lakh and we carry the equipment at rupees 10 lakh. Here there is a problem. Here comes the issue of impairment. So we cannot carry this particular property at rupees 10 lakh when its recoverable value is only 7 lakh. So it is against the concept of prudence and conservatism. Okay, so we need to reduce the amount of property to rupees 7 lakh, but because the recoverable value is only rupees 7 lakh. Okay, that means we need to deduct further 3 lakh from 10 lakh. So the carried amount on the balance sheet should be rupees 7 lakh after the deduction of impairment loss. So dear students, this particular standard, impairment of asset, came on 1st April 2005. So before that, the assets were carried at cost less depreciation. That was fine. Now, after 1st April 2005, the asset should be carried on the balance sheet like this. Cost of the asset, cost of the fixed asset, less accumulated depreciation. less impairment loss. So this is how we should show the amount of fixed asset on the balance sheet. Okay, and how do you treat this 3 lakh impairment loss? It is a loss. So when you deduct 3 lakh from the asset side, the same should be deducted from the profit. That means it should be, this 3 lakh impairment loss should be recognized in the profit and loss account. To put it very simply, 3 lakh should be debited to profit and loss account. So dear, as I mentioned earlier, dear friends, this particular standard is applicable only for fixed assets. In the case of investments, if there is an impairment, it is dealt in accounting standard 13. Accounting standard 13 specifically deals with the investments. And if it is inventory, we have accounting standard 2. And if it is deferred tax asset, we have accounting standard 22. Okay, and further assets come under construction contract. Those assets are also outside the purview of accounting standard 28. So dear friends, impairment happens only when the carried amount on the balance sheet is more than the recoverable value. When the recoverable value is less, it simply means that there is impairment. Okay, so another issue is how to calculate this recoverable value. As I said, if the carried amount on the balance sheet is more than the recoverable value, there is impairment. Okay, the next question is how do we calculate this recoverable value? So dear friends, recoverable value is the higher of the net selling price and value in use. So what is this net selling price? Net selling price simply means the amount to be received from the sale of the fixed asset less the cost of disposal. So when we make a sale, we need to incur certain expenses to make the sale. So those expenses should be deducted from the amount to be received. So that is called a net selling price. So how do we know this net selling price? How do we know it? So normally there will be an active market. So from the active market we can know the amount net selling price. Or if we go through the different sale agreements of this kind of assets, so you can know the amount of selling price. Okay, so one is net selling price, and the next one is value in use. Value in use simply means that the present value of future benefits arising from the use of that particular asset. If we carry an asset on the balance sheet, it simply means that we are going to use the asset in the future period. So definitely we will get some cash flows. So if we take the discounted cash flows, so that is the value in use. If we add up, and you need to consider the present value of scrap also while calculating the value in use. To put it very simply, value in use has got two components. One is the present value of future benefits arising from the use of that asset, first part. The second part is the present value of the scrap or residual value. Okay, so we have net selling price, we have value in use. Higher of these components is the recoverable value. Okay, and if this recoverable value is less than when we compare the same with the amount carried on the balance sheet, we can say that there is impairment. Here comes another very important question. So, is it the duty of an accountant to calculate the recoverable value at the end of every accounting period? Very important question. So, for students, dear friends and students, you should understand that if there is any indication of impairment, definitely the accountant and the management should assess the recoverable value. We know the carrying amount in the balance sheet. We need to calculate only the recoverable value. So to calculate the recoverable value, we need to know the net selling price and the value in use. Okay, and I said the management should go for assessing the recoverable value if there is any indication. So what are those indications? The indications can be internal indication or external indication. If there is a sharp decline in the market price of the asset, it simply means it's an indication. Okay, and if there is change in technology, if there is obsolescence, so these are clear signals. These are clear signals of impairment. And if there is continued cash losses, if the cash flows are negative for a continuous period, that simply means that the asset is impaired. And if the use of that particular asset is changed, we use the asset for a particular purpose. If the use has changed, then it simply means that there is impairment. And the accountant should see all these indications. And if these indications are there, he should go for assessment of recoverable value. Okay, so dear friends, suppose that the carried amount on the balance sheet is rupees 5 lakh. And the value in use is 4 lakh. Net selling price is 3 lakh. So you know that the recoverable value is 4 lakh because higher of net selling price or what the value in use. The value in use is 4 lakh. So 4 lakh is the recoverable value. The balance sheet value is 5 lakh. So it is higher than the recoverable value. So the impairment is there. So impairment is rupees 1 lakh. Impairment loss. The amount to be shown on the balance sheet should be 4 lakh. So the 1 lakh should be debited to profit and loss account. Okay. So dear friends, the accounting treatment is like this. The amount of equipment or plant should come down. The asset should come down. So the required entry will be the impairment loss account debtor to plant or property or fixed asset. Okay. Then profit and loss account debtor to impairment loss. Simple. Journal entries are very simple. The accounting treatment is very simple. So we need to reduce the amount of fixed asset. Then we should recognize the expense in the loss in the profit and loss account. So dear friends, the accounting treatment is very simple as we saw. Now suppose that if there is a revaluation surplus, the asset was revalued earlier and we got a surplus, revaluation surplus. And after that this impairment loss came. So dear students, please understand that we can set off this impairment loss with the revaluation surplus. The remaining amount should be recognized in the profit and loss account. Suppose that in the earlier case, the impairment loss is 1 lakh, 5 lakh minus 4 lakh. Suppose that the company, the business had a revaluation surplus of rupees 1 lakh. So revaluation surplus 1 lakh, the impairment loss 1 lakh. So there is no need to debit any amount in the profit and loss account because this impairment loss can be set off against the revaluation surplus. Okay, and suppose another case. On the next balance sheet date, again we assessed the recoverable value. And we found out that the recoverable value is much higher than the carrying value. So here there is no impairment, but we can do the reversal of impairment. Because earlier we debited the amount in the profit and loss account for the impairment loss. Now we found that the recoverable value, you know that what is the recoverable value? The value in use or net selling price, whichever is higher. So the recoverable value is higher than the carrying amount on the balance sheet. So here, what you can do? You can reverse what you did earlier. So the required journal entry will be the asset account should be debited. The fixed asset account debtor to reversal of impairment. Reversal of impairment. It's an income. Okay, so it's an income, so you can include that in the credit side of the profit and loss account. So the journal entry is reversal of impairment debtor to profit and loss account. Just the reversal. Okay, there are indications of reversal. For example, if there is a sudden increase in the market price of the asset, so see it's an indication of reversal of impairment. And if the interest rate comes down in the market, so again it's a case of it's an indication of reversal of impairment. So dear students, the main highlight of accounting standard 28 is that the main purpose of accounting standard 28 is that a business enterprise should not carry a fixed asset at its balance sheet at a higher price than its recoverable value. Because if we carry a fixed asset at a value which is higher than the recoverable value, which simply means that the accounting treatment is totally against the prudence or the prudence concept or the conservatism concept. Okay, thank you.